Part 2. The Meeting at the Council Rock. There was the only other creature who was not from the pack. It was Baloo, the sleepy brown bear, who taught the wolf cubs the law of the jungle. The old Baloo who could come and go where he wanted, because he ate only nuts and honey. The man's cub, he said. I speak for the man's cub. There is no harm in a man's cub. I speak the truth. Let him run with the pack, with the others. I myself will teach him. We need yet another, said Akela. Baloo has spoken, as he is our teacher for the young cubs. Who speaks beside Baloo? A black shadow jumped down. It was Bagheera, the Black Panther. Black all over. Everybody knew Bagheera, and nobody cared to cross his path because he was as clever as Tabaqui, as brave as a wild buffalo, and as uncontrolled as a wounded elephant. But he had a voice as soft as wild honey, and a skin softer than down. Oh, Akela, and you, the free people, he purred. I have no right in your council, but the law of the jungle says that if there is a question which is not a killing matter, the life of that cub may be bought at a price. And the law does not say who may or may not pay that price. Am I right? Good, good, said the young wolves, who are always hungry. Listen to Bagheera. The cub can be bought for a price. It is the law. Knowing that I have no right to speak here, I ask your permission. Speak then, cried 20 voices. To kill a naked cub is shame. Besides, he may make better sport for you when he is grown. Baloo has spoken for him. Now to Baloo's word I will put in one bull and a bad one, a newly killed, not half a mile from here, if you will take the man's cub. Is it difficult? What matter? He will die in the winter rains. He will die in the sun. What harm can a naked frog do us? Let him run with the pack. Where is the bull, Bagheera? Let him be taken. And then came Akela's voice crying, look well, O wolves! Mowgli was still playing with the stones. He didn't see when the wolves came and looked at him one by one. At last they all went down the hill for the dead bull. Only Akela, Bagheera, Baloo, and Mowgli's own wolves stayed. Shere Khan roared still in the night. He was very angry that Mowgli was not his. "Ay, roar well," said Bagheera, "because the time comes when this naked thing will make you roar to another music, or I know nothing of man." "It was well done," said Akela. "Men and their cubs are very clever. He may be a help in time." "Truly, a help in time of need, because none can hope to lead the pack forever," said Bagheera. Akela said nothing. He was thinking of the time that comes to every leader of every pack, when his strength goes from him, and he gets weaker and weaker, till the last the wolves kill him and a new leader comes up. "Take him away," he said to Father Wolf, "and train him as one of the free people." And that is how Mowgli came into the Seeonee wolf pack for the price of a bull and a Baloo's good word. 10 or 11 years passed. Mowgli grew up with the cubs. They of course were grown wolves almost before he was a child. Father Wolf taught him his business and the meaning of things in the jungle. Every rustle in the grass, every breath of the warm night air, every note of the owls above his head, every scratch of a bat's claws, and every splash of every little fish jumping in the water meant just as much to him as the work of his office means to a businessman. When he was not learning, he sat out in the sun and slept, and ate, and went to sleep again. When he felt dirty or hot, he swam in the forest waters. When he wanted honey, Baloo told him that honey and nuts were just as nice to eat as meat. He climbed up for it. Bagheera showed him how to do it. Bagheera lay on a tree and called, "Come along, little brother," and Mowgli flew through the branches of the trees almost as fast as the grey monkey. He took his place at the council rock, too, when the pack met. There he understood if he looked hard at any wolf, the wolf put his eyes down. He used to look just for fun. At other times he picked the long thorns out of the paws of his friends. Wolves suffer terribly from thorns in their coats. He went down the hillside into the people's fields by night and looked at the villagers, but he was afraid of men. He loved better than anything else to go with Bagheera into the dark warm heart of the forest and sleep all through the day, and at night see how Bagheera did his killing. Bagheera killed right and left as he felt hungry, and so did Mowgli. As soon as he was old enough to understand things, Bagheera told him that he must never kill cattle because he came into the pack at the price of a bull's life. "All the jungle is yours," said Bagheera, "and you can kill everything that you are strong enough to kill, but for the sake of the bull that bought you, you must never kill or eat any cattle, young or old. That is the law of the jungle." Mowgli knew it. And he grew and grew strong as a boy must grow. He did not know that he was learning any lessons and had nothing in the world to think of, only things to eat. Mother Wolf told him once or twice that Shere Khan was not a good creature, and that some day he must kill Shere Khan. But Mowgli forgot it, because he was only a boy, though he thought he was a wolf. Shere Khan was always crossing his path in the jungle. As Akela grew older and weaker, the lame tiger became great friends with the younger wolves of the pack. Shere Khan praised them and wondered that such fine young hunters had a dying wolf and a man's cub as their leaders. "They tell me," Shere Khan said, "that at the council you cannot look him between the eyes," and the young wolves agreed. Bagheera, who had eyes and ears everywhere, knew something of this. Once or twice he told Mowgli in so many words that Shere Khan was going to kill him some day. Mowgli laughed and answered, "I have the pack, and I have you and Baloo, though he is so lazy, but he can strike a blow or two for me. Why should I be afraid?" It was one very warm day that a new idea came to Bagheera. It came of something that he heard. Perhaps Sahi, the porcupine, told him. He said to Mowgli when they were deep in the jungle, as the boy lay with his head on Bagheera's beautiful black skin, "Little brother, how often have I told you that Shere Khan is the enemy?" "As many times as there are nuts on that palm," said Mowgli, who naturally could not count. "What of it? I'm sleepy, Bagheera, and Shere Khan is all long tail and loud talk like More, the peacock." "But this is no time for sleeping. Baloo knows it, I know it, the pack knows it, and even the foolish deer know. The Buckwheat has told you to." "Ho, ho," said Mowgli. "Tabaqui came to me not long ago with some talk that I was a naked man's cub, and I caught Tabaqui by the tail and beat him twice against a palm tree to teach him better manners. That was foolishness, because though Tabaqui is a troublemaker, he can tell you of something that is very important for you. Open your eyes, little brother. Shere Khan will not kill you in the jungle because he is afraid of those that love you. But remember, Akela is very old, and soon the day comes when he cannot kill his buck, and then he will be leader no more." The young wolves think, as Shere Khan has taught them, that a man cub has no place with the pack. In a little time you will be a man. "And what is a man that he should not run with his brothers?" said Mowgli. "I was born in the jungle. I follow the law of the jungle, and there is no wolf of ours from whose paws I have not pulled a thorn. Surely they are my brothers." Bagheera half closed his eyes. "Little brother," said he, "feel under my jaw." Mowgli put up his strong brown hand under Bagheera's silky chin and came upon a little bald spot. "There is no one in the jungle that knows that I, Bagheera, carry that mark, the mark of the collar. Little brother, I was born among men, and it was among men that my mother died in the cages of the king's palace at Udaipur. It was because of this that I paid the price for you at the council when you were a little naked cub. Yes, I too was born among men. I never saw the jungle. They gave me food from an iron plate. One night I felt that I was Bagheera the panther, and no man's plaything. I broke the lock with one blow of my paw and came away. I learned the ways of men. I became more terrible in the jungle than Shere Khan. Is it not so?" "Yes," said Mowgli. "All the jungle is afraid of Bagheera, all except Mowgli." "Oh, you are a man's cub," said the Black Panther. "And even as I came back to my jungle, so you must go back to men at last, to the men who are your brothers, if you are not killed in the council." "But why? But why should anyone want to kill me?" said Mowgli. "Look at me," said Bagheera. Mowgli looked at him between the eyes. The big panther turned his head away in half a minute. "That is why," he said. "Not even I can look you between the eyes, and I was born among men, and I love you, little brother. The others hate you because their eyes cannot meet yours, because you are clever, because you can pull out thorns from their feet, because you are a man." "I did not know these things," said Mowgli. "What is the law of the jungle? Strike first and then give tongue. They know that you are a man, but be clever. It is in my heart that when Akela misses his next kill, at each hunt it is more difficult for him to kill the buck. The pack will turn against him and against you. They will hold a jungle council at the rock, and then I have it," said Bagheera. "Go down quickly to the men's houses and take some of the red flower which they grow there. When the time comes you will have even a stronger friend than I or Baloo or those of the pack that love you. Get the red flower. The red flower is fire. Only no creature in the jungle calls fire by its name. Every animal is afraid of it, so it has 100 names." "The red flower," said Mowgli, "that grows outside their houses? I will get some." "There speaks the man's cub," said Bagheera. "Remember that it grows in little pots. Get one quickly and keep it for a time of need." "Good," said Mowgli. "I go, but are you sure "Oh, my Bagheera," he put his arm round his neck and looked deep into the big eyes. "Are you sure that all this is Shere Khan's doing?" "By the broken lock that freed me, I'm sure, little brother." "Then, by the bull that bought me, I will pay Shere Khan full tael for this, and it may be a little over," said Mowgli, and ran away. "That is a man. That is all a man," said Bagheera to himself. "Oh, Shere Khan, never was a blacker hunting than that a frog hunt of yours 10 years ago." Mowgli was far and far through the forest, running hard, and his heart was hot in him. He came back home in the evening. The cubs were out, but Mother Wolf knew that something was troubling her frog. "What was it, son?" she said. "Some bad talks of Shere Khan," he answered. "I hunt among the fields tonight." He went to the small river at the bottom of the valley. There he stopped, because he heard the cry of the pack hunting. Then there were wicked cries from the young wolves. "Akela, Akela, let the lone wolf show his strength. Room for the leader of our pack. Jump, Akela!" The lone wolf jumped and missed. Mowgli heard the snap of his teeth. He did not wait for anything more. He ran into the lands where the villagers lived. "Bagheera spoke truth," he said. "Tomorrow is one day for Akela and for me." When he came to the village, he pressed his face close to the window and watched the fire. He saw the husbandman's wife get up and feed it in the night. When the morning came and it was all white and cold, he saw the man's child pick up a pot plastered inside with earth, put red-hot charcoal into it, cover with his blanket, and go out. "Is that all?" said Mowgli. "If a cub can do it, there is nothing to be afraid of." So he went around to the corner and met the boy, took the pot from his hand, and disappeared, while the boy cried with fear. "They are very like me," said Mowgli, blowing into the pot, as he saw the woman do. "This thing will die if I do not give it things to eat." He put some bark into the pot. Halfway up the hill he met Bagheera. "Akela has missed," said the panther. "They wanted to kill him last night, but they needed you also. They were looking for you on the hill. I was among the villagers' lands. I am ready. Look." Mowgli held up the fire pot. "Good. Now I saw men put a dry branch into that stuff, and the red flower blossomed at the end of it. Are you not afraid?" "No. Why should I fear? I remember, if it is not a dream, how, before I was a wolf, I lay beside the red flower, and it was warm and pleasant." All that day Mowgli sat in the cave looking at his fire pot and putting dry branches into it to see how they looked. He found a branch that it liked more. In the evening, then Tabaqui came to the cave and told him that the wolves wanted him at the council rock. He laughed till Tabaqui ran away. Then Mowgli went to the council, still laughing. Akela the lone wolf lay by the side of his rock. It was a sign that the leadership of the pack was open. Shere Khan with his wolves walked to and fro openly. Bagheera lay close to Mowgli, and the fire pot was between Mowgli's legs. When they were all gathered together, Shere Khan began to speak. "He has no right," said Bagheera. "Say so. He is a dog's son. He will be afraid." Mowgli jumped to his feet. "Free people!" he cried. "Does Shere Khan lead the pack? What has a tiger to do with our leadership?" Seeing that the leadership is yet open and being asked to speak, Shere Khan began. "By whom?" said Mowgli. "Are we all jackals? The leadership of the pack is with the pack alone." There were cries of, "Silence, you man's cub! Let him speak, he has kept our law." And at last the older wolves of the pack said, "Let the dead wolf speak." When a leader of the pack has missed his kill, he is called the dead wolf as long as he lives, which is not long, as a rule. A killer raised his old head. "Free people, and you too, jackals of Shere Khan. For 12 seasons I have led you to and from the kill, and in all that time not one has been trapped. Now I have missed my kill. You know how that was. You know how you brought me up to an untried buck to make my weakness known. It was cleverly done. Your right is to kill me here on the Council Rock now. So I ask, who comes to make an end of the lone wolf? For it is my right, by the law of the jungle, that you come one by one." There was a long silence, because no wolf wanted to fight a killer to the death. Then Shere Khan roared, "Bah! What have we to do with this toothless fool? He will die. It is the man cub who has lived too long. Free people, he was my meat from the first. Give him to me. He has troubled the jungle for 10 seasons. Give me the man cub, or I will hunt here always and not give you one bone. He is a man's child, and I hate him." Then more than half the pack cried, "A man! A man! What has a man to do with us? Let him go to his own place." "And turn all the people of the villages against us?" asked Shere Khan. "No, give him to me. He is a man, and none of us can look him between the eyes." A killer lifted his head again and said, "He has eaten our food, he has slept with us, he has driven game for us. He has broken no word of the law of the jungle. Also I paid for him with a bull. The worth of a bull is little, but Bagheera's honor is something that he will perhaps fight for," said Bagheera in his gentle voice. "A bull paid 10 years ago? What do we care for bones 10 years old?" "Or for a promise," said Bagheera. "Well, are you called the Free People?" "No man's cub can run with the people of the jungle," roared Shere Khan. "Give him to me." "He is our brother in all but blood," Akela went on, "and you want to kill him here. In truth, I have lived too long. Some of you are eaters of cattle. Of others I have heard that under Shere Khan's teaching you go by dark night and take children from the villager's doorstep. So I know you to be cowards, and it is to cowards I speak. It is certain that I must die, and my life is of no worth, or I could offer that in the man's cub place. But for the sake of the honor of the pack, I promise that if you let the man cub go to his own place, I will not, when my time comes to die, fight against you. I will die without fighting. That will at least save the pack 3 lives. More I cannot do, or you'll have the shame that comes of killing a brother spoken for and brought into the pack according to the law of the jungle." "He is a man, a man, a man," said the pack, and most of the wolves began to gather round Shere Khan. "Now the business is in your hands," said Bagheera to Mowgli. "We can do no more but fight." Mowgli stood up with the fire pot in his hands. Then he stretched out his arms and laughed in the face of the council. He was very sorry because the wolves never told him how they hated him. "Listen, you," he cried. "There is no need for these dogs' words. You have told me so often tonight that I am a man that I feel your words are true. So I do not call you my brothers any more, but Zach, as a man should. What you will do and what you will not do is not yours to say. That matter is with me, and to see the matter clearer, I, the man, have brought here a little of the red flour, which you dogs fear. He put the fire pot on the ground, and some of the red coals lit the moss. All the council went back in terror before the bright fire. Mowgli threw his dead branch into the fire and raised it above his head among the wolves. "You are the master," said Bagheera quietly. "Save Akela from the death. He was ever your friend." Akela, the old wolf who never asked for mercy in his life, gave one look at Mowgli. The boy stood all naked, his long black hair over his shoulders in the light of the blazing branch that made the shadows jump. "Good," said Mowgli, looking around slowly. "I see that you are dogs. I go from you to my own people, if they be my own people. The jungle is closed to me, and I must forget your talk and your friendship, but I will be more kind than you are. Because I was all but your brother in blood, I promise that when I am a man among men, I will not betray you to men as you have betrayed me." He kicked the fire with his foot, and the sparks flew up. "There shall be no war between any of us and the pack. But here is one thing to do before I go." He went forward to where Shere Khan sat looking stupidly at the flames, and caught him by the tuft. Bagheera followed close, in case of accidents. "Up, dog!" Mowgli cried. "Up when a man speaks, or I will set that coat on fire." Shere Khan's ears lay back on his head, and he closed his eyes, because the fire was very near. "This cattle killer said he would kill me in the council because he did not kill me when I was a cub. Thus and thus then do we beat dogs when we are men." He beat Shere Khan over the head with the branch, and the tiger cried in an agony of fear. "Pah! Burned jungle cat, go now! But remember, when next I come to the council rock, as a man should come, it will be with Shere Khan's skin on my head. For the rest, Akela goes free to live as he likes. You will not kill him, because I don't want it. Nor do I think that you will sit here any longer. Out! Go!" The fire was burning at the end of the branch, and Mowgli struck right and left round the circle. The wolves ran away with the spark burning their skins. At last there were only Akela, Bagheera, and perhaps 10 wolves that took Mowgli's part. Then something began to hurt Mowgli inside him, as he has never been hurt in his life before. The tears ran down his face. "What is it? What is it?" he said. "I do not want to leave the jungle, and I do not know what this is. Am I dying, Bagheera?" "No, little brother, those are only tears such as men use," said Bagheera. "Now I know you're a man, and a man's cub no longer. The jungle is closed indeed to you. Let them fall, Mowgli. They are only tears." So Mowgli sat and cried as though his heart would break, because he never cried in all his life before. "Now," he said, "I will go to men, but first I must say goodbye to my mother." He went to the cave where she lived with Father Wolf, and he cried on her coat. "You will not forget me," said Mowgli. "Never," said the cubs. "Come to the foot of the hill when you're a man, and we will talk to you, and we will come into the village to play with you by night." "Come soon," said Father Wolf. "Oh, clever little frog, Come again soon, for we are old, the mother and I." "Come soon," said Mother Wolf, "little naked son of mine, for listen, child of man, I loved you more than I ever loved my cubs." "I will surely come," said Mowgli, "and when I come it will be to lay out Shere Khan's skin upon the Council Rock. Do not forget me. Tell them in the jungle never to forget me." Early in the morning Mowgli went down the hill to meet those mysterious things that are called men.